trying a new deck out today. I'm trying a new Lindiwe Maw deck. She's the sacrifice character in Ysmir, and she's always kind of intrigued me. Wondering what you can do with her, where her power lies. Honestly, this is more of a concept deck than it is an actual, like, good deck. So if you're looking for something to play, maybe don't consider this, but hopefully it'll be a fun journey. So thinking about what we have access to, we have a first player, so we have access to Maw this turn. So we could Moonlight Jellyfish and Gift of Self to sacrifice it and get the boosts onto Maw. Might be a fun one, so I want to keep these two. I really like Kelgren Alchemist. I think it's a great card. It's just a 3-mana 3/3/3 that you can play as a 1-mana 1/1. Like, it's always fine stats and gives you good, like, plays. But it's a little bit boring. I think I want to keep Orders Cadets as a sacrifice card. Or maybe Baba Yaga for card draw. And the reason I say Baba Yaga for card draw, although I guess I am using Gift of Self, go with the Orders Cadets. The reason I say card draw is really important is because I think the core of this deck is Kraken. Let's do the Moonlight Jellyfish first. So I think the core of this deck is the Kraken. And let me show you this deck quickly. I don't have a great way of showing my decks at the moment, and this is because the Kickstarter cards are kind of split between that and the normal set, so you see a lot of like duplicates. Like you see down at the bottom right here, the Orders Carriers are separated into two different sets. Hopefully they fix that. It's a little bit hard to look at these decks at the moment, but this is the deck if you want to have a look at it. And notably, I'm playing 3 Krakens, because I think that's the secret sauce of this deck. Anyway, so they played here, they countered me, which is honestly kind of what I was hoping for. Now I can just play more to the right-hand side. Sacrifice my Jellyfish. Get good boost to the right-hand side, like 2 power here is very good when they only have 1 mana remaining. And I get to draw 2 cards. That's fantastic. I really love Nevenka. I think she's a really fun character to play. One card in particular, let me just see if I can bring it up. This card here. The flavor text, when luck joins the game, cleverness scores double. I feel like that's a really apt description of how Nevenka plays, because on the surface it seems like a very random ability. You just get to randomly anchor or send to reserve or gain boosts, but I feel like it's a very, like, it requires a lot of thought. For example, in that situation there, could she have rolled? She's rolling for the 1 in 6 chance of anchored, but you're just as likely to send her to reserve. And if you do that, you kind of, like, lose the game, honestly. So I probably wouldn't have rolled there. And I think that's kind of the vibe I get from Nevenka, and the vibe I get from the flavor text here, is that you gotta think a lot about when you want to roll that dice. Now, I'm probably overthinking it a little bit. You can probably just roll that dice whenever you feel like it, but I like the thought of it being a little bit more cerebral. Unfortunately, we don't have any sacrifice plays until we get Kuwat out, so our next turn is going to be a little less exciting. Probably want to keep... So next turn, if I play Spindle Harvesters, I can then play Kuwat, get the sacrifice, get the boosts on Maw, and that feels good. I like Sakura Brewer a lot, want to keep that card. I've talked in some previous videos about how I shouldn't be greeting cards. I don't care. This is a new deck that I'm having fun with and trying to experiment where its powers lie, so I feel like if there was ever a chance, an opportunity to greed for cards, it would be this one. So, let's do what we were talking about earlier. Play the Spindle Harvesters to the left. That way it can score in advance and set up me playing Kuwat. They're going to play the Hatter. They get anchored, which is quite interesting. Obviously, very good for them. I would love to have a 5/5 anchored. But it doesn't give them a boost, which means I can just play the Jellyfish to counter them on the right-hand side. Like, I get the water advance. I kind of want to use the draw of the Jellyfish, because I really want to see that Kraken. So let's play the Stargazer. Although, okay, thinking about it, I'm very excited to just do fun things with this deck, but thinking about it a little bit, if I plan next turn is to play Kuwat and sacrifice the Spindle Harvester, then I'll have 3 things in reserve: Ysmir, Jellyfish, and Kuwat, and that's not a great idea. So let's take the safe play the Jellyfish, get the free advance. You know what? I'll get this as well, because why not? And then next turn, I won't lose card advantage. but I would love to sacrifice the jellyfish. I actually pulled a unique one of these the other day, but it's like 3 mana for a 0/0/0. I think it's quite bad, but I just love the idea of a unique like jellyfish meant to only be sacrificed. Okay, Kraken, we're online. What do we want to do with that though? So this turn, or what? Next turn, when I have 6 mana, probably something around this. Pray for some kind of sabotage. Turn 7, Sakura Brew. Turn 8, Kraken. So, let's get rid of Studious Disciple. I say turn 8 Kraken, but it's not the rare Kraken. So I need to have something else to sacrifice. This is actually why I really like Spindle Harvesters, because it gives you something you can play the previous turn to sacrifice. And it's actually why I think Lindiwe and Maw's ability is really interesting. Because obviously giving yourself a boost when you sacrifice something is strong. But I feel like just as often use her companion to be the sacrifice itself. And I really like that dichotomy of giving you power for sacrificing, or giving you things to sacrifice. Fun game design. So, what's this here? Oh, I forgot to do the thing. It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't hurt. It hurts a lot. So unfortunately I lose that on the advance on the right hand side, which was free. A little disappointed in that. I think I got overly excited, but it's fine. Sad more. That's really unfortunate, because I would have been ahead as well, which I feel like this deck is very good at closing an advantage. But we can come back from it. On the... Oh, please roll a 6. Please roll a 1. That would make me very happy. On the bright side, if they don't roll a 6, they will be losing a card this turn, like to reserve overfilling. Okay, 5. That's fine. Nothing really happens. To talk about their play a little bit, if they had have played this and it got anchored, they could have then rolled on an Avenka and probably gotten a tie, which an anchored tie is obviously very, very good for them. Alright, so we went from being ahead to being behind because I misplayed, but I don't know. It seems like a fun hand to try and come back with. Next turn I can play Stargazer and Kuwat. Comes a 5, 6, 7. Orders Carrier. So this is interesting. I kind of hoped I would see Orders Carrier, because Orders Carrier lets me play Kraken. Okay, for starters, I'm just going to go with the Sakura. I can't afford to have 2 of them, and the Kraken in hand. So, thinking for a second. Next turn, I'm first player and have 7 mana. It means I can summon more, get the Orders Recruit, and sacrifice it. It means this turn all I can do is Sakurabu. Sorry, all I can do this turn is use me as Stargazer, which, not great. Not great. Especially since I fell behind. I feel a lot more confident if I didn't make that misplay last turn, but unfortunately, this is where we are. Yeah, this is interesting. They actually got rid of the Asmodee as opposed to the Skald. I'm surprised by that. I would have taken the stats. Alright, so looking at the situation a little bit, they notably don't have a lot of water, which the Kraken quite likes that. Okay, well actually that kind of made my decision a lot easier. I now have to do this. One thing I'm scared about is Lyra has a lot of really good control. They have Paint Prison, they have Cloth Cocoon, probably some things out of faction that I'm not thinking about. Obviously Cloth Cocoon doesn't hit the Kraken the first time round, but it will on the second time round. A little bit spooky. I'm willing to take the risk. And I think... Yeah, I'm on really bad types here. The only reason to play this out? Not really. It loses to grass here, it loses to water there. Yeah, this is kind of what I was hoping wouldn't happen, is that now I'm on game point and just have to slam the Kraken and pray it pays off. This is probably bad manners to just keep doing this for no reason, but always a fun thing to bring out. One thing I didn't realize until seeing her art in Board Game Academy Board Game Arena, is she's like a Kraken. Like, I kind of figured there was just legs beneath the like text box, but I think she's just a Kraken. I think you can see the full art on here if we go to access details. Yeah, just like Ursula, I think. Oh no, you can kind of make out legs, but she definitely has that kind of Ursula sea creature vibe. And Maw is really cool. It's kind of like a sea serpent with a Maw face. I really love her character design. Alright, what do we got here? Oh, don't tell me. You must have rolled a 6 on Tanuki, that's rough. I think that's the other side of this deck, of Nevenka, is that like she's very fun and very skill testing, but sometimes you just get really unlucky or really lucky, and I think either case feels quite bad. Honestly, I'm kind of a sucker for that though. I like kind of interesting, weird experiences, so give me that any day. Alright. Fortunately, do I have the resolve to just slam Kraken and pray though? If anything, including just enough power to beat 8, I lose the game. And for a penny. I have to be in that. Play the Kraken in the water. Alright, here we go. Fingers crossed. Thinking about it, like rationally, for a second. Earlier when I made that misplay and didn't get the advance on my companion side, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, I would be one step ahead here. It would have been nice, but I don't think it would have mattered. And I think there's a non-zero chance I just play Kraken this turn and next turn and just win the game. Oh no. If they had rolled a 1, 2, or 3, I think they just win the game. But I doubt they have another 4 mana in hand. 4 water. Ooh. Swings and roundabouts. Alright. It is anchored, which means I am tentative to want to play Kraken out again. Chances are they can beat me on the right hand side now they have this anchored. Let's think about what my options are. The really nice thing about Lindiwe Maw is that if you can play Kraken out in turn 7, you can play Kraken out in turn 8, because I can spend the 1 mana to summon more again. But let's think about how else we can play this turn. So 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana, 6 mana. Terrible. They're on grass on the right hand side. So, to include you in my thought process a little bit, I have 2 primary options to me here. 1, I play some combination of Stargazer, Boom, Spindle Harvester, and try and blow up their Asmodee while they play to the left hand side. Play number 2 is that I just use Sakurabu. So Sakurabu basically just, they play something big to ideally the right hand side at the start. I can just slam down Sakurabu and say, you can't win this turn because I control the left hand side. Now, this is why I love the rare version of Sakurabu. 5 mana does 5 power does that so much more than 4 power. What are my other options here? So I can play 4 mana, 5, 6, 7 mana for Kuwat and Boom. That doesn't do anything. I think I just throw Kuwat into mana and see what they do. I have this little 1/1 to be able to boom something cheap. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I could have played Kuwat, Spindle Harvester, Ordis Recruit. Alright. So that was vaguely the hope. Get them to commit to the right hand side and then slam down Sakurabu and say, you can't beat me on the left hand side. They need to produce 5 Earth to make that happen. They have Nevenka. So they only need to produce 4 and get kind of lucky. Average result. So, what are my other plays here? Don't think... So, 1 mana to summon more, 1 mana to 3 mana to boom this to make it 2. Doesn't do anything, so I would need to also place Middle Harvester. So 1 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana, 6 mana. Just to describe what I was just talking about, just randomly reading out mana costs. I would create the Maw to the right, play this Middle Harvester, blow that up with Boom to get rid of one of these two, to get rid of Asmodee, and then have 3 power between Maw and the Recruit, which would counter the Tanuki. But the only option I would have left in play would be the Ysmir to counter whatever is on the left-hand side, which I'm still just banking that they don't have enough power on the left-hand side. So, Slam Sakurabu, pray that's good enough. Wish me luck. Ooh, moment of truth. The tension is palpable. I try and cut out some of the longer pauses in my videos just because it's a thoughtful game, there's a lot of thinking. But I feel like sometimes you don't catch me sitting here like nervously waiting to see what they play. Alright, that's pretty good. That kind of shows me that they probably don't have it. Let's throw down Spindle Harvester for no reason. So next turn, oh, I didn't think about this, but they're now on grass as well as earth. So this Middle Harvester, I always forget this by the way, like I always forget that where you put Sakurabu matters where they get pushed back to. This Middle Harvester on the left does stop them getting to 5 grass, but I don't think they're getting there with Esmeralda. So Spindle Harvester only matters on the right hand side for grass next turn. I probably just plan on Krakening. Let's put it here. I'll be kicking myself if they reach 5 grass. They took long enough to think that I'm guessing Esmeralda. They were trying to hope for a good resupply that would win the game. I don't think they have it. My worry now is that they Nevanka Asmodeus, and he sticks around. I think I can play Kraken into that again. Paint Prison. Oh. That'll do it. They were playing Asmodee for this resupply, but they were playing it for the Paint Prison. So they could have just Krakened it. They could have Paint Prison made Kraken next turn as well. Alright, well that was a good game. Unfortunately they win it, but it was close. In fact, it was so close that looking at the current situation, I would have gone to tiebreakers if I hadn't have made that Maw mistake. That's unfortunate. But you live, you learn. And honestly, as a proof of concept game, I think this was really fun. I think this is easily one of my favorite decks to just have fun with. Play big things, cross your fingers and hope it goes well. Alright, send them a good game and wrap it up. In my last video, I talked a little bit about how uniques can feel bad. And I want to talk a little bit about how chance can feel bad. I think both of them have like a real negative association around them that probably exceeds how negative they actually are. Like getting beaten by oh, I had a really powerful unique that I couldn't have expected, or oh, that person got really lucky, how could I possibly counter that? Those are both very valid concerns. I don't want to take away from that. I think they are true. I think there's a world where Altered comes out in a more standard state, I'll say, where like it's not running uniques, it's not running chance dice rolling mechanics. And I think people are a lot more content with the game. But I think that's kind of the key. So I think they're just more content with the game. I think for people like me, and maybe people in a similar mindset, the kind of funness of uniques, the funness of random dice, it's very interesting. Duvenka was the first hero that I played, and I really enjoyed that. Thinking about how exactly to roll that dice, thinking about where it applied, thinking about what the value of Lyra Bastion is. I think Lyra Bastion is one of the most interesting cards, because I know a lot of new players value that card incredibly highly. Like, you get to roll 2 dice, Nevenka's always online. I think it's a bad card. I think you just gotta be kind of conservative, play situations where both sides of the dice roll are good, and I think that from your opponent's perspective, playing against dice, you gotta consider, well, regardless of result, what position would I be in? I think it's a lot of interesting what-ifs. As it stands, I'm very happy with the current state of Altered. I enjoyed it a lot. But I understand why there are people's concerns. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope my rant at the end wasn't too much for people, and I hope you guys all have a fantastic day. Yeah.